Jaws and claws. In every ocean across our planet, from coastal shorelines to deep expanses, lives one of the most sophisticated predators on Earth, the orca. Often called killer whales, these remarkable creatures are actually the largest members of the dolphin family and have perfected the art of survival through extraordinary biological adaptations. Orcas stand unequivocally at the top of the marine food chain. Their Latin name, Orcinus orca, derives from Orcus, god of the underworld, a fitting reference to their fierce hunting reputation. These apex predators hunt everything from fish to seals, sea lions to humpback whales, and even great white sharks. And speaking of hunting things, help us out by hunting that subscribe button and smash it like a turtle shell. We would really appreciate it. Thanks. The orca's physical characteristics are perfectly engineered for marine dominance. Males can reach over 9 meters long and weigh up to 10 metric tons, comparable to a school bus. Their cylindrical bodies taper at both ends to form a hydrodynamic shape that, combined with their raw power, makes them the second fastest marine mammals, reaching speeds up to 35 kilometers per hour. Their immense strength is matched by their bite force, which exceeds 131 megapascals, 19,000 pounds per inch, nearly 5 times greater than a great white shark's 27.5 megapascals. This remarkable force allows them to easily take down prey much larger than themselves. But orcas don't rely on individual strength alone. Their most powerful advantage comes from their social structure, the pod. Based around maternal groups led by matriarchs, these family units work in synchronized precision that gives them an overwhelming advantage against virtually any prey. Now, what makes orcas truly remarkable isn't just what they hunt, but how they do it. When targeting great white sharks, South Africa's orcas work in coordinated teams, ramming sharks to stun them before flipping them upside down, inducing a state called tonic immobility that paralyzes the shark. Then, with incredible precision, they extract only the nutritionally rich liver, leaving the rest behind. These whales have learned that the shark's skin is very rough and damages their teeth, so they target the underside of the shark with their strikes, and once they tear a hole big enough, they just grab the liver out and leave the rest of the shark to be consumed by others. Great whites are so terrified of orcas that after an encounter, sharks immediately flee their hunting grounds, often staying away for up to a year. Antarctic orcas demonstrate equally impressive tactics, creating coordinated waves to wash seals off floating ice. Other groups encircle fish schools, blowing bubble nets while slapping their tails to corral prey to the surface for an efficient mass feeding. These complex hunting strategies have captivated scientists for decades, showcasing the orca's unparalleled ability to develop and implement sophisticated hunting techniques. The orca's evolutionary journey is a fascinating testament to adaptation. It is believed that approximately 50 million years ago, their ancestors were land-dwelling, wolf-sized creatures called Pachycetus that lived along shallow ocean edges. Over 8 million years, some lineages ventured further into marine environments, gradually trading legs for flippers. Evidence of this terrestrial past remains visible in their front flippers, which contain arm, wrist, and finger bones, as well as vestigial pelvic bones, remnants of hind legs that now serve no purpose. This remarkable evolutionary transition created a creature perfectly adapted to rule the ocean. The foundation of orca's social cohesion and hunting prowess lies in their sophisticated communication systems. Scientists have identified 3 primary forms of orca vocalizations, each serving distinct purposes. First are the clicks of echolocation. When hunting, orcas emit series of high-frequency clicks that travel through specialized fat in their melon, the rounded forehead. These sound waves bounce off objects and return to the orca, where specialized fatty tissues in the jaw pick up the echoes and transmit them to the brain, creating a detailed sound picture of their environment. This echolocation is extraordinarily precise, allowing orcas to detect fish up to 500 feet away in dark waters. Pacific orcas can distinguish between different species of salmon based solely on the acoustic signatures of their swim bladders, enabling them to selectively target preferred prey like Chinook salmon, even among hundreds of other fish species. Second are whistles, high-pitched directional sounds that don't travel far underwater. These private communications allow pod members to coordinate hunting strategies without alerting prey or competing predators. Third are pulsed calls, as loud as jet engines that can echo for miles underwater. These calls aren't genetically predetermined but learned within pods. Calves initially produce unstructured screams, gradually learning the specific calls in appropriate context from older pod members. The complexity of these vocalizations leads scientists to believe orcas possess a true language capable of communicating specific, detailed information. Current AI research aims to eventually decode this language by correlating sounds with observed behaviors, potentially opening a window into interspecies communication. Beyond hunting coordination, orca language forms the basis of each pod's distinct cultural identity. Research beginning in the 1980s revealed that each pod possesses its own collection of calls, unique dialects that remain unchanged for decades, reinforcing group identity and cohesion. These dialects correspond with radically different lifestyles. Resident pods occupy predictable coastal locations, typically comprising 14 to 50 members that primarily hunt fish. Transient pods are more elusive, traveling unpredictably over vast distances in smaller groups of about 3 members, specializing in hunting marine mammals. These groups rarely interact, with completely different vocal patterns reflecting their distinct hunting strategies. These cultural differences are so profound that scientists believe orca evolution is being driven by cultural specialization rather than geographic isolation. Transient and resident orcas are diverging toward separate species, an extraordinary example of culture-driven evolution. At the core of orca abilities is their extraordinary brain. Weighing 5.4 to 6.8 kilograms, 11.9 to 15 pounds, the orca brain is the second largest in the animal kingdom after sperm whales. While absolute size matters, relative brain-to-body ratio is more significant for cognitive capability. The encephalization quotient, EQ, measures this ratio against similar-sized species. Humans top the scale with an EQ of 7, followed by bottlenose dolphins at 4 and orcas at approximately 2.5, placing them among the most neurologically advanced creatures on Earth. Even more remarkable is the orca brain's extreme gyrification, the wrinkling and folding of the cerebral cortex. This feature increases the amount of cortical nerve tissue available for information processing. The gyrencephaly index for humans is 2.2, while orcas measure 5.70, the most gyrified brain in the world, allowing them to process enormous amounts of sensory information rapidly. Perhaps most fascinating is the orca's highly developed insular cortex, the brain region involved in consciousness, emotional regulation, empathy, interpersonal experience, and self-awareness. This suggests orcas may possess emotional intelligence similar to humans, aware of others' feelings and their own existence. In 2001, researchers tested this theory by applying markings to captive orcas and observing their reactions to their reflections. The orcas not only noticed the markings, but became fixated on them, blowing bubbles at their reflections, bobbing their heads, and displaying behaviors that suggested genuine self-recognition. While not definitive proof of consciousness as we understand it, these findings suggest orca cognition may function remarkably like our own, capable of high-level thinking, emotional processing, and perceiving the complex world around them. The transmission of knowledge through generations is another extraordinary aspect of orca biology. The beach-hunting orcas off Argentina's coast provide a striking example. These orcas intentionally beach themselves to catch sea lions on shore, an extremely dangerous technique requiring precise timing with waves to avoid becoming stranded. Of the 30 orcas in this region, only 13 have mastered this technique after years of rigorous training. Young orcas practice repeatedly under the guidance of female adults, sometimes using props like seaweed during training. Many never master the technique, startled by the sensation of their body weight on land. Those who succeed often don't attempt catching live prey for years and still require adult assistance to return to water. This high-investment apprenticeship system exemplifies the sophisticated social learning mechanisms that make orcas so adaptable and successful across diverse environments worldwide. The orca represents an extraordinary evolutionary success story, a creature whose biological adaptations have created the perfect apex predator. Their hydrodynamic bodies, powerful jaws, and sophisticated brains combine with complex communication systems and rich cultural traditions to create a species that dominates every ocean environment. As we continue studying these remarkable creatures, we discover increasingly complex behaviors that reveal them to be not just efficient hunters, but highly intelligent social beings with distinct cultures. Though we diverge from orcas millions of years ago, they may be our closest parallel in how they experience and navigate their world, a reflection of ourselves in the depths of the ocean. Make sure to check out our other videos on the incredible behavior some orcas are exhibiting in the Iberian Strait of attacking boats for the last few years. These are amazing creatures, and we need to respect them and learn more about them. See you next week. did you hit subscribe? Did you? This is not a Marvel movie. You need to hit it now. Okay, thanks for watching.